Welcome back for part two. It's 20 minutes plus 4 minutes of stoppage time, most of it induced by Richard Wood over here, who's going to kick one or two people. James Gregg is far enough away not to be contacted by this fella, who can be a very aggressive centre-half at times. And we've got Terry Sweet, delighted to welcome Terry from Sheffield's Hospital Radio Service, Sheffield Sports Commentaries.
That's right, Alan, yes. Good evening.
Good evening to you, which has been going for longer than you have.
Absolutely.
In its 56th year now.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. It is, yeah.
So you'd have commentated on this guy at some point?
I have done, yeah, quite a few years. I've been sort of doing it about 10 years now, so yeah, definitely commenting. Yeah, it was all good, Richard. Yeah,
it's okay. You see, you can say it was all complimentary, but unless you were in hospital, you wouldn't have been able to hear him. You see, so
that's an unfortunate thing.
I mean, it's one of those things that it's had a following over the years from people. You know, there are a lot of hospital beds in Sheffield, aren't there?
Well, they are. Yeah, they are. I mean, we do it at Allenshire, Weston Park and Northern General through the hospital HBS service, but our main function really is commentating to the blind and the visually impaired at the grounds at Hillsborough and at Bramall Lane, and we have flirted with Sheffield Eagles Rugby League at some stage. That's a little bit more difficult now, as they've been nomads for a while, but yeah, we've been going there, and it's been really good.
I do know, because he's told me that David Blunkett relies on you and is a great big fan of both yourself and Leon Rothman, who are regular commentators on Sheffield Wednesday, and of course you've got dedicated commentators on Sheffield United as well, and you hit those hospital. You've got a captive audience in a sense there, but how many people can you actually hit in hospital?
Well, it depends on how many tune in, of course. But
if they all do,
you're probably talking 1,000 people or more.
Yeah,
perhaps perhaps more, and you know it can. It's very good, and we've had some really good feedback from the people in hospitals as well. So and the main thing is we get the feedback from the guys in the crowd, the people that listen to us, and sometimes away fans as well. So you try not to be too biased, but you can't help it.
No, well, one of the things is that you are fans of the clubs that you come. I know Leon's a big Owls fan. So long may it continue. We'll come back to Terry later. Also, James, you've got a mixed bag this week. I think you've got just about everything. But just before we come to you, Richard,
absolutely.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Rotherham United 1.
Yes.
That was one of the surprise results of the season, wasn't it? Unless you factor in the Warnock.
It was. I mean, it's one of those games that, from watching it from afar, I wasn't at the game, but I was following that closely all afternoon, and I just thought I got a feeling. I thought he'll have been working really hard that week. Obviously, I'm sure you work hard every single week, Richard. But I bet he was up for that, wasn't he, Neil?
Yeah, he was looking forward to it. To be fair, in the build-up, it was all about him.
Yeah,
he he does love that, but it took the pressure off us.
Yeah.
And we sort of took a back seat to let him take all the limelight, and it worked. He got it tactically spot on.
But he was quite low key, I thought, on the touchline that day. He was quite relaxed.
I couldn't see. I don't know what we were up to. I was too busy playing, but I know we were looking forward to it. He was saying all week he was, and I was as well. There were a few of us, old faces going back there. Me and Joe Mattock. But we got it spot on. Putting Gregg Alford just in front of us, two centre-halves, worked brilliantly, especially against the big man New York.
He was saying that there's an abusive respect between Neil Warnock and Sheffield Wednesday supporters. Behind the abuse, there's a bit of, I tell you, there's respect from Neil for the Wednesday fans as well, the numbers that come. But they really, to get at him, they should have given him a standing ovation down the touchline before the time.
He'd have hated that.
He'd have hated it,
He wants the abuse, that's what he wants.
He gave a wonderful interview, didn't he? Did you see that afterwards? I think it was for the Sheffield Wednesday online feedback.
Right.
You know, the sort of post-match videos that they put up on YouTube and stuff, and he came across, he said, you know, it's great down here, you know, I've always had a bit of banter with the Wednesday fans, and some of the comments, I read some of the comments off Wednesday fans, they were saying, lifelong Owl, love the man, and you know, really, there was a lot of really sort of positive comments. They hate him but they love him at the same time.
It's like that double-edged thing with him. But in that game, and you mentioned it, Nuhu, now then, defenders don't like facing him, do they? What's he like to face?
He's just awkward. Big, strong unit, and you can't get near him. He wins headers, and he's just a different dimension to what you're used to normally playing against.
Yeah.
I know some Wednesday fans aren't too keen. Some don't rate him. What's he doing? Waste of time. And certain games he may be not effective. He wasn't effective against us, I don't think.
Back pocket.
But
why was that?
But he's good. He's a great person to have, and I know, like Lee Bullen said, what a good player he is to have in your squad, and he's just something different that no other team have got just because of his size, and he's not bad with his feet as well for a big man.
There's a bit of a throwback about him in that physical menace and bustling striker that every team used to have. Somebody a bit like that.
Yeah, they've gone up. Teams have gone away from that sort of thing now, but it still works. And for me, it still works because a lot of teams are more conscious of him when you've got Gary Hooper that can run off him, and or Forestieri that one available. He takes a lot of the focus off them other players to release space for them, and that's why I think he's definitely a threat and a great squad member.
Are you surprised at the stick he gets then?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, but me as a defender, I know that it's difficult to face. Whereas the fans, if he's been ineffective in a game, the fans are just watching that. Whereas when I'm playing or someone to play with, if I'm playing with him, I know I've always got that ball on where I can just get it up to him, and he'll make something of it or put himself about, which you always need.
You mentioned the players around him who can feed off him, and that one player that wasn't there, crucially that day, Wednesday would say, crucially, Fernando Forestieri. I don't know if you saw the game at Hull and the way he got sent off.
Yeah, I wrote a bit in my column about it.
Yeah.
Just saying you need a review of the bookables. If you get 2 bookings, you should be able to appeal it, because things like that happening, it kills the team. He was a big miss for him that day, and well, the 2 games that he missed, and he's come back into the team against, I think it was Forest, and he's created the goals. So he's a big player, and he's a very good player.
And be honest, you got a break that day, didn't you? Although I thought you deserved to win overall, and Wednesday certainly weren't at their best.
I still think
that was a goal, as we now know, the one that was disallowed. Yeah.
Well, I didn't think he were at the time. I was straight over to the linesman. He looked offside all day long for me, and then obviously on the videos you can see maybe it's touch and go.
You're just giving it a maybe, are you?
It's a touch and go. It's a touch and go call, but this right decision was made in the end.
You think? You led that delegation over to that linesman, and he hadn't flagged. So, was it you lot that persuaded him to change his mind?
Apparently, I thought the referee and how they handled it were very good, because the ref obviously gave the goal, and the linesman didn't flag because he didn't realise he'd touched it.
That Michael Tiller had got a touch on it.
He thought it'd just gone straight in.
Yeah.
So because of us arguing, the ref obviously had to come over. The ref said, we said, you've got to tell him that the Turner's touched it.
Yeah.
So the referee said, yeah, he touched it, and the linesman's gone, fair enough then, because he's touched it, I didn't see it, it's offside.
Yeah.
Which is the right way of official. Afterwards, obviously, with the video, then it's touch and go. But
well, it was all a bit messy, but you can understand that, and that's the way I rationalise it. Although, yeah, looking at the replay, the goal should have stood. Although they're really difficult decisions, aren't they? They're hairline. Yeah. Absolutely hairline.
Yeah.
And Nuhu, I know Neil came in afterwards and he dispensed high praise to nearly everybody, apart from him.
Oh, really?
Always.
Why was that? Why was that?
Because of the stupid foul I give.
Yeah.
I gave a foul against, I'm not sure if it were Hooper on the edge of the box, and about a minute later, I've given Needles foul away on the touchline for them allowing them to get a crossing, and then I think that's where they got the goal, or the offside goal from. But even the ref said to me it wasn't a bad foul, but he had to give the foul because Nuhu went down. He went down easy, but he was just buying a foul because, I was probably too close to him. But I didn't actually push him over or anything. He just played. He played the foul. He played it well.
Nuhu gets a lot going again. He very seldom gets fouls given against him, I find. But there you go.
In that situation, because I were behind him, running, trying to close him down, I've obviously just got too tight, and he's bought the foul.
Neil must have thought you played well because you kept your place. And you had that run of victories. What we'll do after, James, I want to ask you about Danny Ward, because I'd never seen that guy play before at that Hillsborough game. And what an amazing impression he made. What a terrific striker who's just about got everything. I'll ask you about him after we've heard from James on everything else, everything.
Absolutely, plenty going on. We'll start with a couple of local individuals for the start of the programme. We've got Matt Fitz, who's in PGA Tour action this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. Very big PGA Tour event, and very lucrative tournament as well. And he's going well. A short while ago, he reached the turn, his first 9 holes of that event in 3 under par. He was in the top 12 so far. Things might have changed since then, I don't know, but he'll be finishing off probably in a couple of hours' time, his first round there. And also Joe Root, he scored 48, top scored for England in England's opening match against the West Indies, which they ultimately lost in the World Cup in Mumbai. They play against South Africa in their next game. That's a crucial game for them, and hopefully Joe will be in the runs there as well. Talk about football now then. Obviously Sheffield United 3-0 win against Oldham last week at Bramall Lane. Blooding the youngsters, I think, was the theme for that day. Nigel Adkins, there was 6 academy graduates in that lineup. Well, 7 if you include Billy Sharp in that starting 11. Fantastic stuff.
In the squad as a whole.
Yeah, in the squad, yeah.
I thought it was half a dozen, and Billy Sharp goes way back. But you got the feeling that's what they need to do now. And get these kids in. But it's a balance between that and the fact that there's still a playoff opportunity, Richard.
Yeah, they're not far off, are they? Really?
It's not really.
I mean, it's not. You know, the 7 games left, you win all 7 of them, you most certainly in there.
Well, it's who you're playing as well. They're playing most of those games against teams above them.
But you're more than capable of beating them. You know, more,
Do you
certainly.
think?
Certainly.
I'm having a hard job convincing Blades fans of that today in my column.
They're incredibly, they've been inconsistent, but I think that they've shown enough promise. The good has been so good that at times they've almost been unplayable. And it sounds daft, but 20-minute, even half matches, they've been unplayable. And then you get other games where they just look like, the run-of-the-mill League One side, really. So,
Oldham was one of the better ones. That's good.
Absolutely. So let's see how they get on this weekend when they travel to the Lions' Den to play against Millwall. Well, Sheffield Wednesday, coming off the back of a 3-0 win for them as well. Very impressive against Forest. They welcome Charlton to Hillsborough on Saturday. Local football sides now. Hallam are unbeaten in their last 4 games. They've got 9 games left to try and get themselves in the playoffs. I think that they should do it. And they've got a big game against Grimsby Borough on Saturday at Sandygate. And Sheffield FC, they held Shaw Lane to a 1-1 draw on Tuesday night at the Coach and Horses ground. And they travel to Loughborough on Saturday. The Sheffield Steelers, well, this is the big one, and I know I want to make a bit of a big deal about this because
you do it.
Basically, they've got 2 games left of their season. The final home game is against the Nottingham Panthers on Saturday. We all know that one if you follow the Steelers and lived in this area for a few years. You certainly know how feisty that one can get. Play them on Saturday, and then they play against Fife up in Scotland on Sunday. If they win both of those games, that brings them to 70 points. Cardiff Devils, if they win both of their finishing 2 games, they're on 70 points as well. But the Devils would win, so they'd need a slip up. So hopefully, if Devils can lose one of their games, that means that the Steelers win the trophy. So
but they obliged last night, didn't they? They lost in Belfast.
They did, yes, absolutely.
So it set up an amazing finish.
A big finish.
Hey, what a crowd they're going to get at the arena on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Pack the place out for Steelers on Saturday. It's a pity that their final game's in Scotland, isn't it?
It is.
Far away, but
it is maybe for the better, away from all the pressure and the bright lights. Of course, last year it's very similar position to last season. Steelers scored with 12 seconds left of overtime to win 4-3 at the Panthers Stadium to clinch the trophy last year. So good luck to them this weekend. It just shows the true character of them because they were looked down and out probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. So the fact that they're still contending right up to the very last weekend.
Excellent.
Full credit to all the players.
Good luck, Jonathan Phillips and the team.
Hopefully reporting on a win for them next weekend, next week on this roundup. Yeah. Great stuff. Sheffield Eagles, shock loss. I actually said last week, get down to the Sheffield Sports Park to watch them score a few tries against Whitehaven. They didn't at all. They've won 3, lost 3 from their opening 6 games in the Championship this year. year. They play bottom side Swinton Lions on Saturday at home. Hopefully, I'll say this, fingers crossed and touch wood again, get down there to watch them score a few tries on Saturday. 3:30 they kick off. Sheffield Sharks away to Cheshire Phoenix this weekend after a great win, back on the winning train against London Lions last weekend. Well done to them as well. They're contending for a top 4 finish in the league as well. Well done to them. And Rugby Union will finish off with them. Sheffield Rugby Club, they're undefeated at home in 2016 and they're third in the table, but they're still some 12 points off a playoff spot. And Sheffield Tigers, they've actually had a 3-week break for fixture cancellations and rearranging, but they're back in action this weekend against Lynn, and they're 11 points clear at the top of National 3 North. So hopefully into National 2 next season.
Thank you, James.
No worries at all.
Isn't there a big rugby league milestone for Mark Aston?
There is. I failed to mention that one. Yeah, of course. It's 500th game as head coach of the Sheffield Eagles, and that, I think, by my reckoning, is the most in the whole of the rugby league top 2 tiers.
Incredible spell, isn't it? 500 games. They don't sack him as readily in the rugby league as they do in football.
They don't. I mean, he's Mr. Sheffield Eagles, isn't he?
He certainly is.
He bleeds red and white, that man.
He certainly is, and he wears shorts in this studio, which is another thing as well. He comes in with shorts. And
it's a rugby league thing, that, isn't it?
Keith Senior did as well.
I'll try it next week.
Yeah, I'm sure 1 or 2 people will be delighted. We're not bothered. Thanks, James. Back with Richard Wood. I went to the Dogs on Tuesday.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Greyhound racing down at Overton Stadium. Really fantastic experience. Must have been about 10 races. Came out broke even. You're a fan, aren't you, Terry?
Yeah, we have a few times. Well, we have one of our charity days at near Christmas, raise some funds for our Sheffield Sports Commentaries, and it's a day at the Dogs, a night at the Dogs, I should say, on a Tuesday night. So we try and get down there, and it's a good night. Yeah, and I've been quite a few times. In a previous life, used to take a few clients down there, and everybody thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, it's funny, really is.
We're great.
You don't have to know anything about dog racing to enjoy it. So, formed in 1960, I don't know if it was called Sheffield Sports Commentaries back in those days, was it?
I don't think it was. It was
just hospital radio.
Yeah, well, yeah, we broadcast to HBS radio, which is hospital radio at the Allenshire, and so we're like 2 separate companies, but we come together as to support one another and what have you. So yeah, and we started with the blind and the visually impaired at the ground, and in the early days you used to sit in the middle, and the visually impaired and blind people would sit round you, so you used to talk like you just no microphones, no anything, and the lads like Leon and that, you say they'd be hoarse after a game, because you've also got to put emotion into it. I mean, they get it from the sensory around the grounds, but you still got to put some emotion in your voice when you're talking.
You'll learn this. You've got to learn this. You're a registered charity as well.
Yes.
So it takes some funding.
Yes.
Is that a struggle to get the funding in?
No, we do okay. I mean, we get fantastic support from Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, and the way they help us and the way things we do with them. Yeah. So that's really good. And we have our fundraising events, and we. The Dogs Night in particular is a really good fundraiser. So no, we do okay, and that we're not struggling, but we do okay, and it's and a lot of hard work by people, and all the volunteers like John and the Reverend and Phil. I've got to mention it because
they're at Bramall Lane. They do the Bramall Lane end. John Stittle.
John Stittle, yeah.
And the Rev.
Yeah, and the Rev. Yeah. You must know him. And Phil.
Just give him a name check quickly.
Yeah.
Go on, a full name check. Yeah.
Reverend John, I'm calling him.
Just the Reverend John, right? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we have a Plymouth Argyle fan who joins us. Phil, Andy Willis, so
excellent.
He puts a little bit of, brings us fans down to earth a little bit.
Long may it continue, and you're unashamedly biased. That's brilliant. Richard, I mentioned Danny Ward. He took our breath away. I know Terry was impressed as well when we saw him. We're uninitiated because we've not seen him before. wasn't Huddersfield.
Yeah.
What do you make of him as a player?
He's got everything. He can go a long way. Still, I think he's 25, so he's got a long career ahead of him yet. But he can do everything he does. He's sharp. He can definitely get in behind defences. But then, with his size, you wouldn't think he can head a ball. But more than 8, 9 times out of 10, he definitely wins that ball in front of the centre half. So he's a target man as well. He's very good at that, and then he's finishing. I see him training every day. He's finishing his top draw. Maybe we haven't seen it as much at Rotherham because we're struggling at the wrong end of the table, but he can definitely, when he gets in positions, he can definitely finish them off.
Great potential. He just has to believe in himself, I suppose.
I don't know if it's his injuries, not big injuries, little niggles he picks up, and I don't know if it's been consistent over the last couple of years of a long run of games. I think that's hampered him a bit. But on his day and when he's firing, he's unplayable sometimes.
There's no better manager of players from all the clubs that he's been at than Neil Warnock.
Yep.
And Kevin Blackwell there with him, and those two work so well together.
Yep.
Is that his outstanding quality, do you feel, Neil, as a manager?
Yeah, definitely, I think so. He just gets older players. He knows how to treat players, and he might treat players maybe different to certain other individuals. And the best example so far that we've seen is Gregg Halford, who's not been involved whatsoever in the team, and then as soon as he comes in, puts him straight back in, and he's been brilliant for us from the start of the season. Obviously, he had his difficulties at the start of the season, got dropped from the team, and he was captain as well. But he's come back and he's been brilliant for us, and played in a few different positions under Neil Warnock as well. He knows where to play him and when to play him in certain positions.
But also how to handle him as a personality as well.
Yeah.
Because he's known as a moaner, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's. I've read a few of it. I've read this in the Sheffield Star about him moaning and getting onto him about his moaning. We don't see that much of it. He's a nice lad and everything's fine. Everybody's glad to see him back in the team and playing well.
Neil Warnock will choose a positive over a negative any day. I think he can hand out rollickings with the best of them, but I think he chooses to get players to believe in themselves, to convince them how good they are. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, definitely. It happened the other night on Tuesday last week against Middlesbrough. I was shocking first half, and amount of mistakes I was making. I expected at half time for him to go mad at me, but he didn't. He just said, "Just get yourself together, be all right." And he just had a word with me. And second half, I did a lot better. But in the first half, for some reason, I don't know what it was, I wasn't good. No. But the way he handled me in that situation, even on the touchline, in the start of the second half, I did something well, made a good tackle or a good header, and I could hear him on the side encouraging me and saying that's better, and that typifies it for me.
It's great management, and also knowing when to criticise a player. Oh, he criticised you after you've won a game. Yeah,
that's 1-0.
Yeah. So
I can take criticism. I expected him to go mad at me at half time in the Middlesbrough game, but maybe if he had done, I might have come out second half and been even worse. I don't know, but it definitely worked, and he's fine to have a go at me after the game, and I'll take that because we won, and I know myself I played well in that game. So
5 seconds, promotion for Sheffield Wednesday or not?
Yeah, I hope so.
You hope so? You think so?
Yeah, I definitely want them to.
Top 6?
Yeah.
We all agree. Thanks, Richard. Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks ever so much.
Nice
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
It's been brilliant. See you next week.
You will do. Yeah.
And you, and my YouTube channel. See you. Bye.